Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first ever official Gaming is Golden podcast. The podcast where I'm going to talk to you about video games I like, or maybe the gaming industry in general. What I hope is eventually this will grow and I'll get more people who can steadily join me, and then we can have real in-depth conversations about the industry. But for now, it is just me, so I figured for the very first official one, I will discuss a game that I am totally obsessed with and have been obsessing with for about a year now. Sea of Thieves. So, on this first one, I want to do a little speculation podcast. So, with the Gold Hoarders. So, the Gold Hoarders are the treasure faction that we have been seeing and been able to use in the closed beta. They have little tents on these outposts where they basically are our primary quest givers right now, and they're our only quest givers right now. And so they're these guys that there's a different one of them set up. They actually aren't all the same guy. They're different gold hoarders set up all around the islands on all the different outposts where you can deposit your gold. And so I want to know more about these guys because they're sitting there in tents and they've all kind of branded themselves with some form of gold. Like they've got some gold fingers here or there. They've got like gold on their face. Like these guys love gold so much that they've just like melted it onto them or something. I want to know more about this. I think that might be it. Like, or maybe they're cursed. You know, maybe they love gold so much they made some deal and they're slowly being turned into a gold person themselves, and eventually they will maybe they will just be a gold statue and be frozen that way. Who knows? That's what I'm here to speculate. So without further ado, let me start off by a little bit of background. So it was actually a few days ago. I was talking with one of my buddies, and I was like, you know, these gold hoarders, they look a lot like this golden skeleton that we saw like I think it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was like shortly after I think the first E3 that Sea of Thieves was debuted. They gave some artwork and they showed off some concept art. And one of them was this like golden, it's a skeleton. He was mostly golden, not all, he was mostly golden. He had like diamond eyes, and I think he even had the golden shovel, which you can actually get from the gold hoarders. If I'm not, I could be mistaken on that part. I'd have to look at the picture again. Sorry, I should have done more of my homework there. But anyway, so I was talking, I was like, you know, they've got to be related. You know, there's too many similarities here. And just by coincidence, by me, just a couple days later, they, because also, let me, sorry, backtrack again. Yeah, we're going to be all over the place. That's how my mind works. You'll get used to it. But anyway, so a month or so ago, these toys were announced called Tutaku figures. Everyone thinks they're only PlayStation because that's what the media is showing, but no, there's plenty of non-PlayStation exclusive Tutaku figures. The one that is an Xbox exclusive is the Sea of Thieves Gold Hoarder figure. And so I was like, oh cool, we're gonna get this Gold Hoarder figure. You know, anything Sea of Thieves, so like I gotta buy it. But then, you know, that was like a month or so ago. And then in this closed beta, I realized, hey, not all the gold hoarders are the same guy. They're all different. How can you have a toy if they're all different? And then I'm like, and that's kind of how I started piecing together. I was like, well, maybe it's this golden skeleton guy. You know, he's got to be related because it's like something has to be, there has to be one model of something called Gold Hoarder. They're not going to have Gold Hoarder figure and you have, well, I guess it's possible, but they're not going to have this figure, and you have a chance of it being this one or this one or this one. That didn't make much sense. Like, that's possible, sure, but that didn't make much sense. So to get back to where I was, so a couple days after I had this hypothesis with my buddy, they announced Sea of Thieves Gold Hoarder, and they showed the picture, and it was the skeleton. I was like, oh my god, that's it. And that's kind of what drove me to make this podcast, because I'm like, you know what, I've got these theories, and I shouldn't be keeping them to myself. I should talk. Let's get this discussion going. So, the Gold Hoarder figure, it was revealed that it is in fact the skeleton that I was talking about. So now we know that guy is called a Gold Hoarder. We also know these humans are called Gold Hoarders. So what can we do? How are they connected? So that's kind of the speculation I want to talk about. In a recent podcast on IGN, it was an IGN Podcast Unlocked, episode 333. Craig Duncan is being interviewed, and a few things he says about the Gold Hoarders. He talks about how they have a loose and funny lore to them, which I wouldn't dig too deep into like what loose and funny means. I'm gonna assume that what this means is whatever background they've given the Gold Hoarders. And by the way, in this context, I'm pretty confident we are more so talking about the humans than the skeleton, but I am also kind of confident they're one and the same, as I'll get further into that. But anyway, so loose and funny lore to them. I think what I'm going to get from that is it's rare, guys. Everything about them is a loose and funny lore. So that's kind of all it is it's going to feel like it's the story that is made by Rare. And that's what I'm going to take from that. He also talks about how they crave gold, and I mean, we already know that. Like, they're the guys who want the treasure chests. They're the ones asking us to go get this gold for them. And they're the ones, as I said earlier, who have, like, branded themselves in gold. And so something he did point out, though, that, I didn't really put two and two together, is they've got magic keys for the chests that only they can open. All my, I've been playing this for so long, people, a lot of my friends, they just ask me their Sea of Thieves questions, because I'm the Sea of Thieves guy for them. And I keep getting asked, it's like, why aren't we just keeping the gold for ourselves? Why are we giving them to this guy and he's giving us like 50 money back? And I didn't have a good answer. I was just like, it's mechanics of the game, just enjoy it. He's the one paying us for it. But okay, so this makes so much more sense. They've all got keys. They're the only ones that can actually get the gold. Let's pretend you can't just take a shovel or a gun or something and blow the lock off or something. Let's pretend that maybe the whole chests have a power to them that you can't break and open. So, I mean, you gotta let your imagination go a little bit, guys. You can't be too technical here. So they've got the only keys. So they're the only ones that can open it. So that's one riddle solved in my mind. That was something I didn't even think about. But I did notice, before I saw that, I noticed, I think it was only one of them that I noticed it on, though. He had a key ring that he was like kind of playing with. A lot of times, if you look at the Gold Hoarders and just kind of watch them, they'll like look at a coin or pull a coin out of their pocket or something, look at it. Sometimes they'll be secretive, sometimes they won't. And they've got their keys on them, and sometimes they'll play with their keys. So that riddle solved. So let's talk more about what kind of connection, because this is what I'm more interested in. What kind of connection is there between the skeleton Gold Hoarder and these human Gold Hoarders? Now, everything I'm about to say is just my wild speculation. These are all my guesses, possibilities. There is nothing I'm about to say that is really official. Maybe they turn into that skeleton. Maybe where they are in their life right now. So Gold Hoarders, maybe it's let's start with the curse. I like the curse theory. So let's say these Gold Hoarders, they sold their souls, and now they're cursed. So they're slowly decaying and turning into gold. Or maybe, excuse me, maybe they're just straight up slowly decaying, and because they love gold anyway, the parts of them that kind of fall off, or maybe the skin goes away and all you see is skeleton, instead of being like these human skeleton things with humans with like holes in them of rib cages showing and stuff, maybe they are replacing their skin that goes away with gold. So that's a possibility. And then maybe eventually they are going to turn into these skeletons, and the curse will just overcome them. And they have maybe they'll have the choice to make. It's like, do I just cover my whole self in gold, or do I stop and accept my fate? Maybe that's what it is. I do think the Gold Hoarder skeleton pirate, gameplay wise, I think that is going to be kind of like a boss fight, per se. I don't think we're going to encounter that skeleton too often. I think he's going to be a tough fight, and I think he's going to have a lot of rewards. And I don't think you're really going to be able to encounter him until you've done a lot with the Gold Hoarders. I think you're going to have to earn your way to fight him. So that's my best theory. I think is a curse kind of thing. Maybe they're just like a cult. Maybe they just love gold, and they're instead of like wearing hats and cloaks and stuff, they're just like, hey, I'm gonna melt my fingers in gold here as initiation or something. I gotta prove that I love gold. And maybe the skeleton Gold Hoarder, maybe he was just a human gold guy who ended up dying. Maybe he's just one of them who isn't alive anymore, and there's nothing really more special about him other than that. Another theory is maybe the skeleton was the first to do it. Maybe he was the first one to really kind of tarnish himself in that gold, and maybe he was, maybe he started the cult, or maybe a cult just started because of him. But maybe he was the first, and he, like I just said, covered himself in gold. Maybe he ended up dying. Maybe he was dead, and then he loved gold. Who knows? Maybe he was a guy who always loved gold, and after he died, he didn't want to lose his gold, so he melted it on his body. Any of these guesses are, they're just wild guesses. So maybe other pirates kind of fell in love with this idea, and they were like, all right, I'm going to be a Gold Hoarder, and I'm going to this is my purpose in life. This is what I'm going to do. But anyway, those are my speculations. Those are my best guesses. Leave in the comments, what do you think? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you have any other great ideas for a connection of who these Gold Hoarders are, and what connection do they have with that skeleton Gold Hoarder? So yeah, I hope you have a good day, guys. That's the end of my podcast. Keeping it relatively short because it's just me. Again, hopefully, if I can keep doing this kind of stuff, I'll get enough followers. Maybe I'll get enough people who can commit to like having actual conversations. I love to talk gaming. That's what I'm all about, specifically Xbox, but the gaming industry as a whole is something that I love to engage and talk in. All right. Have a good day, guys. I am out.